Hello everyone and welcome back to my kitchen. On the agenda today is another one of those treasures that I always keep in my refrigerator. It is the red chili seasoning paste, what's called an adobo rojo in Mexico. Now typically it is made from dried chilies, most commonly from a guajillo chili and an ancho chili, but I'm going to show you how to make it with a powdered ancho chili that you can find in most grocery stores, thankfully, these days. Now what would you use your adobo rojo for? Well, it's always the thing that people will reach for when they want to marinate. So if you're a griller, and I'm certainly a griller, I love to have the adobo smeared over fish or chicken breasts, or, well, I'll tell you, pork is just amazing with an adobo rojo marinade. So this is something that you can keep on hand. In just a little bit, I'm going to show you two things that you can do with this adobo that may really surprise you. But let's make the adobo first. So I'm going to use a blender to do this. You could do it in a food processor as well. When you go to the grocery store, I don't have a label on this one, but you will oftentimes find the little 2-ounce glass jars of ancho chili powder. That's what I've built this recipe to use. So I'm going to put that in here. If you're buying the if you're buying the ancho powder in bulk, this is a scant ½ teaspoon. It's like right in between 1/3 of a cup and 1/2 of a cup. I said teaspoon, but it's 1/2 a cup. So that, it's someplace in the middle there, but if you have a scale, it would be 2 ounces that you're gonna do there. Now I have already brought 1.25 cups of water to a boil here, and I'm gonna pour that over this. This is gonna sort of reconstitute it and sort of bring out the properties that we would associate with the dried chilies. But boy, this is way easier to work with. I'm going to put the top on the blender, but because I put that boiling water in there, I have to take that center piece out so that I can, I'm going to grab my towel and just put it here just to catch any splashes here. And then I'm just going to turn it on and mix it. I'm just mixing it. I'm not trying to do anything other than that to it. And we're going to let that come to room temperature now. And while we're waiting on that to come to room temperature, I am going to do my fast roasting of garlic. This isn't really, it's more like blanching garlic. And I'm going to use the microwave to do that. I have 8 large cloves of garlic here, and I've submerged them in water in a microwave safe dish. And I am going to put this on 1 minute, and that will be enough to cook that garlic, to blanch it, to bring out its sweet flavors, which is what I'm looking for, not the harsh flavors of roasted garlic. This adobo, when we have finished it, will stay in your refrigerator, well, unless you use it up, of course, but it can stay in your refrigerator for several months. And it's one of the things that I always want to have on hand to season things when I'm quickly cooking dinner, or when I want to do something really special, but I don't have very much time. We've got our blanched garlic now going into the blender with our cool down ancho base. And then always in an adobo, there's going to be a mixture of herbs and spices. What I have for this particular one is some Mexican oregano, cinnamon, this is some cumin, and some black pepper, and all of that's going to go in here. Oops. And then a little bit of apple cider vinegar will go in there, and then we're going to blend this. While that is on blending, I'm going to take the top off again and add 1.5 teaspoons of salt. Now that may seem like a lot, but remember, this is a marinade. This is something that is got to be very highly spiced, including salt. Plus that salt and that vinegar that's in there is a preservative for this. So when you put this into a storage container in your refrigerator, it will begin to thicken up a little bit, but it'll also be preserved for that long storage of several months if that's how long it lasts you. Okay, now I'm going to show you a couple of things that you can do with this that I think may surprise you. If you want to make something really impressive and really fast, I use the adobo as a marinade for shrimp. I've got my well-used wok here heating up over about a medium-high fire, I would say here. I'm going to pour about 3 tablespoons or so of this adobo over some peeled and deveined shrimp. Now they have the last little segment of the tail on them still. I'm just going to make sure that they're nicely coated here. And then I've got some oil. I like this safflower oil that's made for high heat cooking. I think it works really well in a wok. And I want to just coat the bottom of this wok with that. You can do this in a skillet if you want, but I just like cooking shrimp in a wok because I can usually get really good heat on them and they get that really beautiful crisp texture to them. Okay, so I've got them nicely coated with the adobo. Let's see what our temp is here. Yeah, I got a nice sizzle on it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put all of those guys in there. And then I have a typical wok utensil here. I'm just gonna kind of spread them out. Now I've put it up over high heat here. Usually I start by just heating it up slowly for a little while because this is a rolled steel wok. And then I'm going to cut up some green onions over here that I'm going to cook right along with them. So just cut them thin. These are actually the Mexican style green onions. They're still called cebollitas, the same way we would call them any kind of green onion in English. But these have they're a little bit bigger and bulbous at the white end of it. But they cook really fast and they're going to add a really lovely flavor to this. So I'll put all of those guys down in there. And now we'll go back and do our stir frying stuff here, tossing everything in this pan until those shrimp are ready. It'll take about 3 minutes or so to cook them. Okay, my shrimp is done now. And I'm going to take a little agave syrup, about a tablespoon all told here. You could use honey for this. You could use maple syrup if you wanted. You just want something that will make these shrimp beautifully shiny and just a little sweet. That sweetness against the red chili flavor is absolutely wonderful. And then I will slide all of this into a plate for serving here. And I have a bunch of cilantro over here, and I'm going to just tear off the top of it and just let some of these beautiful leaves of cilantro come down around the top of it. That little piece off. Clean up my plate, and there you have red chili shrimp with a nice little agave syrup glaze.